name is Mel, and your life is going to change. You are going to be different. My name is Mel, and your life is going to change. You are going to be different. My name is Mel, and your life is going to change. You are going to be different. You are going to be out. You are going to be bigger and larger than ever imagined it possible. And you know why? Because you were able to find the power that is dormant inside of you all of this time. And all of this time, you were afraid to go out no longer. Will that be the case? You will be sharp. You will be the God or goddess of you. You will be the one that everybody comes to and says, hey, look, they're there. The master's there. The teacher's there. There for one that will make my life different. And if I can do that, remember, I'm something. I'm here to help you. I'm here to change your life. Your life will no longer be the same. Be together. I'm going to conquer the world. Or you know, everything you imagine possible will become possible. For one simple reason, and it is possible. My name is Mel, and your life is going to change. You are going to be different. My name is Mel, and your life is going to change. You are going to be different.
Welcome to another program of Uncommon Sense. You're listening to the voice of Dr. Mel Gill. This program is co-hosted usually by my son, Luke Gill, who is going to be struggling to come on in a short while. If you would like to be part of this program, please feel free to come on board, and I'll give you the link. All you have to do, you don't even have to download the software. Hey, Ashok, how are you? Welcome to the show. Just have to click on that, and then you'll be there. Today we were supposed to have, let me add Luke first and then tell you the rest of the story. Hey, Luke Gill.
Hey, good to be here.
Welcome to the show.
So sorry I'm late.
No worries. Today we were supposed to have Nisha Rani, Dr. Nisha Rani, join us, but she was incapacitated with something debilitating, and she had to spend her time resting. She's in England right now, in London, but she promises us that she'll be on the next show with us, which is next Wednesday when we start. Hopefully I'm feeling better after that, because as you know, Luke, I'm Monday going in on a procedure to insert a stent or two into my body, but in the part that I was supposed to have done earlier. Couldn't exercise before that because seriously, if I did or tried to walk and all of this other things, I could have damn near killed myself if I did that, because your father has not been taking care of himself very well, and putting himself out in all kinds of emotional extremes, sometimes taking home the problems he should not be taking home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
so I have to kind of cool it a little bit. So we will know. Otherwise, I'll give you the coordinates for this StreamYard, and you'll be doing a solo show from now on.
Well, let's try to avoid that happening, and I think everything should be all right.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Everything should be okay. It should be all right. Ought to be all right. Would be all right. So today we were going to continue discussing, if you want, spirituality, awakening, consciousness, things that people are already, let me try it again. People are really interested in listening to. You know, what are the stories, behind the thinking of the stories, if there's any thinking at all of any kind. So, and people don't really know. So in essence, last day before yesterday, we talked about being who you are and unapologetically who you are. And today I was hoping maybe we can discover things like people have a fear of success, so they don't achieve success. Do you know what I mean? And so on and so forth. Like, I've been struggling with this, my friend's work. Remember the almost 7,000 pages of stuff. Hey, Mamaji, your grandmother is tuning in. Say hello.
Hi, Dadima. How are you doing?
Yes, her habit is very simple. She tunes in religiously to the show, listens for a few minutes. If it's boring, she conks off and continues watching her own dramas and stuff like that. Then starts to listen to the show the next morning. So sometimes when I see her, I come over for breakfast. Uh, she's asleep and she's listening through her headphones with the with our program. So apparently my program puts her to sleep. That's maybe
Well,
I
you know,
sh-
it's nice when your mother is still your number one fan. That's a beautiful thing.
yeah. That is true. That is true. Joycelyn joins us as well. Hey, Joycelyn, welcome. She's from Scotland. And oh, no drama today, your grandmother says. So she'll be listening today. So we will watch our language. Well, that's the only thing she's upset about was when I use language of any kind. So we'll keep it to a
You know,
minimum today.
one of these days, you should send her the link. It would be awesome to have her on the show.
Really, that's a good idea. I'll prepare her for next Wednesday. See if she's okay with that. And then she'll be on the show. But she'll be spending most of the show apologizing for either me or you onto the world and saying, I'm so sorry about these guys. They came from me. I couldn't shove them back, and so on and so forth. Atsuko, welcome. So, regardless, look, you want to kick it off talking about all this various different turning points that we all come to in life, whether they're spiritual, physical, mental, emotional, relationships, which is always a big question mark for a lot of people. Relationships. What's that all about?
Well, um, I think that
Your
a
grandfather is
lot of
listening as well.
hi, Dadaji.
I see him on Facebook, but not on StreamYard. So that your grandmother is more savvy than he is on that. But that's very good. Hey, PUBG, welcome. Sorry, go ahead, Luke. You were saying?
Um, I was saying that I think these last few weeks we've been talking a lot about spirituality, and a lot of what that's entailed and focused on is the spiritual awakening and the stripping away of our ego, and really really coming to terms with who we really are inside. Um, before we were in embedded with all these ideas from society of what we should be, all the past scars of our previous relationships and experiences, um, and I think to be unapologetically yourself, like you said, in order to to embrace a new way to experience life, whether it be spiritually or to let go of your fears of success or whatever it is, whatever area of growth that you're going through in life. um, that really comes back to coming back and being unapologetically you, the you that you were before. We took all these different false notions from our previous experiences, from life, from
And the
society,
roles we
and
play.
slapped them on ourselves as labels. Yeah.
Mm.
um, I don't know. That's just a thought I had. It wasn't exactly a question, but
No. I mean, I want to hear your thoughts because it helps us to think about instead of the impractical, more practical stuff, which is also needed. Leela, welcome. Leela Tomasic joins us
hi,
as well,
Jocelyn. Hi, Leela.
and so maybe let's make a transition from spirituality to practical. Okay, maybe there are several ways in which you can set yourself up for some kind of an awakening, whether it's spiritual or what, we don't know. And let's talk about that, because one of the ways I know that I found that was necessary was I took 40 boxes of stuff from this house alone and shoved them all into a storage facility in Malaysia because it was cheaper there, much cheaper. And 40 boxes of stuff is a lot of stuff to accumulate. And there's still probably 100 more boxes of stuff here that I need to get rid of. So after I finish this writing, which is about 12 more reports, 75 pages each, and then I'm done, I think I need to, again, continue to do what I did in the beginning, declutter. So when you declutter your house, you declutter yourself, your office, your schedules, your plans. Don't you agree, Luke, that that's the first step towards any form of spiritual growth or I mean, let alone enlightenment, but spiritual growth, because it serves to remove all of those distractions from your life. What do you think?
Absolutely. As within, so without, and as without, so within. That's all a reflection.
Because you
And
declutter your mind at the same
I
time
notice
too,
here,
right?
I have the same kind of habit with my workspace and the desk. It becomes an absolute mess. And if it wasn't for Ellie here helping me to keep everything neat and organized, it would be hard to get done everything that I have. Um,
Because when you think about it, it's a metaphor for your meditation and your spiritual life. Because when you are decluttered, then you allow your thoughts, um, to pass without any kind of judgment, just go by you. You don't have to think about it. And you slowly watch your mind clear itself of mental clutter, too much longing. I have this idea, that idea. So this meditation is a form of decluttering your life, right? Um, Allows you to relax into what I talked about day before yesterday, reality, into presently what is true in your life, and helps us to remain present. Because when you are present, then you have only love and no fear. Now, I found myself somehow sliding into, like, for instance, today when I entered the hospital to meet the doctor, to prepare for Monday. I went into a form of PTSD, and all of everything I felt, no matter how much I'm able to help other people with all of this, there's no one here to help me. I just realized that the minute they speak, I already know what they're thinking and what they're planning and where the origins are. Even when they're telling the truth or a lie, it just becomes crazy. And I wish I was some kind of plumber that couldn't see all these things. Your pipes are clogged. I can help you with that. But if your thinking is, what's the other word? Screwed, then there's very little I can help you with except to lead you to some form of therapy. But for myself, holy shit. So I think by decluttering, you offer yourself a greater connection by letting go of some thoughts and cluttering thoughts, so that you listen to your intuition a little bit more, form of like a spiritual guidance. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the these answers,
Come closer
the
to the mic.
answers that. Oh,
Yeah,
is this a little bit better?
much. Yeah. Sorry, say again.
Um, I agree 100%. I mean, the biggest changes that have occurred in my life, I definitely owe some thanks to my family, my friends around me, the people who have been influential in helping me to see a different way of thinking, to see a different possibility. But ultimately, it's you that has to arrive at that answer. And the only way you can do that is by clearing out the old, decluttering in order to make room for the new.
Sure. And another practical way to reach spiritual growth of any kind is to re-examine your beliefs. I mean, I don't know about you, Luke, but I do that a lot, and I do that very often. I try to be more conscious and intentional about the things I believe. I try to understand the energy, that some people are putting out, the energy that I am putting out into the world at large. And as much as possible, I try to be as honest instead of delusional about all of that, and find out what are my real beliefs in supporting my spiritual growth, or what's the opposite of growth? Um, Retardation?
I
I don't know.
maybe stagnation is probably a better word, but
Stagnation is a better word. Yes. No, I mean,
um,
we retard uh,
yeah,
our growth.
you.
Yeah.
I think the biggest steps that the best way that I've been able to do that is by taking it one level deeper and examining not just why, like what do I believe, but then why do I believe it, um, and by examining that you might realize these beliefs were never yours to begin with. They came from some kind of experience you had, or it came from a previous relationship, someone that was very close to you, and it was and and so when it becomes very easy. I mean, some and there's a lot of people out there who are brilliant lawyers and could argue why two polarizing opposite ideas are correct for one reason or another. And if you're able to do that at a conscious level, then you have to not do it from the mind, but feel it from the heart and see which one feels right to you.
But what if the heart? I mean, my premise for everyone is the heart is the mind. Because what you think is what you're gonna feel. If you think a certain way, you're gonna feel that way. If you think a certain other way, that's the way you're gonna feel. And if your thoughts are depressing and morbid, and they go only into dark areas, then you're gonna end up feeling that way, that you are dank and dark and all of that. But I guess this comes to that idea I was talking about. Remember, just now, I was saying that maybe at some point, um, some form of spiritual growth or opening or breaking or growing, awakening, I think was the word we used, requires maybe a letting go of beliefs that we have held, our entire lives. Beliefs about people, beliefs about our lives, beliefs about what is real, beliefs about what's up there or down there, but isn't that the thing about awakening, Luke? That you have to first realize that you have been sleeping all along, somehow in a semi-conscious state, not really aware of everything. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. Um, and I think it's hard for a lot of people um, to form new patterns of thinking, to release previous ways they've thought, um, because it certain things can seem true or not true, but it also you can it becomes easier to make that transition if you can hold that space for the new belief.
Hmm.
Say, perhaps this was true at one point.
Hmm.
It doesn't necessarily mean that's the way it has to be now. And you
Right.
are worthy of having a new experience in life. You are worthy of um, experiencing um,
Happiness.
your belief and happiness in a way that serves you,
Yeah,
and serves the life that you want to live.
I like that. Very good. We have our old friend, the shy shaman from New York, online waiting to join us.
Hello, how are you?
Wait, let me turn the volume down. I keep
Okay.
forgetting. Just okay. Okay, go
Good to see you,
back.
Ashok.
We,
How are
we
you?
Hey Ashok, how are
good,
you?
good, thank you. So I listened to the program. Luke was missing in action yesterday, and I know you send me the. When was the last time any dad was able to make his son do what he wanted? There was no way. You were calling him like, Luke, where are you? Remember, he has a partner now. Okay?
Yes,
So she got priority over you. I mean, you
yes,
better get
yes,
that one.
yes. And I am the Lone Ranger without Tonto. You know, is it Tonto? Who was his sidekick there? It's just me on the horse by myself.
Yeah, what? Yeah, but you like it that way. So it doesn't matter. You love it that way. You want it to be
Right.
like that.
Wow, this he just did a Trump on me. You love it. You like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, say the
You,
word recession. You love
you
it.
heard,
Trust me, you'll
you,
love it.
you heard the Trump news. Did you hear the Trump news?
Yes, yes, we did. We did.
See that? It's that's one reason why you should marry a much younger woman, because like both of you don't die the same day.
Mhm.
Well, now they are saying he's at risk, but she's not. I'm like, that's a good
Yes, yes.
situation to be in. Like
Yeah,
somebody's there to take care of all the money. Like somebody's there to get
yes.
the will.
Or
Yeah.
his lack of money, as we've heard so far. He's $541 million in debt.
So he's worse than a homeless guy on the streets of New York because he doesn't owe anybody anything. The homeless guy.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's
He's
true.
poor. He's poorer in wealth. He's poorer in emotions. He's poorer in everything. So
But I think either it's real that he does have it, and so therefore is he genuinely got. There are three reasons. Genuinely he got it, and so now needs to be, because no mask walking around, you're bound to get it at some point. It's like the Russian roulette.
right.
There's only one bullet in all the six chambers. You don't know when it's going to fire, and this one fired. Or secondly, it could be that this is a ploy to get sympathy votes from a lot of people. And thirdly, he's terrible at debates. He sounds like a used car salesman, screaming, everybody telling him to shut up. And how do you tell the president of the United States to shut up in those words? That
You,
he loses power. So the next debate is supposed to be October 15th. That's canceled. That's out. That now prevents embarrassment from coming up firsthand.
see that I knew you thought about all these possibilities. What about this possibility? You didn't think that he said he had it, and then actually he may not have it, and he said he has it, and then later on say, "Look, it's not that dangerous. It was just a little cold. I'm well now."
Hmm.
See, there's a fourth possibility too.
It's like the flu.
Yeah,
Magically,
nothing.
it's gonna disappear like
Everybody,
magic.
right? Everybody's worried for nothing. Look at that. Look at me. You guys shouldn't worry about it. Just go naked everywhere. But that's the thing. Oh, who knows?
I
I
don't
mean,
think we want to see him naked. We're not the only ones. I don't think Melania wants to see him naked either. But
she
that's a different
absolutely
story.
don't want to see him naked. Stormy Daniels may be another story because she got a lot of money out of it.
Well, she got paid. I think he paid. I mean, as far as we know, in the last 15 years, he paid more money for sex than he did for taxes.
Oh,
But we're not sure about that.
if I have the money, I will probably do the same thing.
This,
The not. I need to remove the shy part from the shaman now.
No,
No more
but
the shaman.
but
The shameless shaman.
yeah, but that, that's the lighter part of it. I'm not um, because just the guy wanted to have sex. I'm not going to condemn him for that. Okay, but
Uh-huh.
but if he's having sex on my money, the taxpayers' money, that's a bad part. With his own money, whatever he wants
Uh,
to do is
he,
like his
he
call.
he paid her with public funds. But anyway, the point is, you're married. What the hell are you doing that, right?
Okay, you know that you talk with a lot of married people, so you know how does that work. I'm not going to go into that one. Okay.
Anyway, one of you can handle this question from Joycelyn. Belief that I'll ignore the first one because you reworded it secondly. Belief that our ancestors inculcate to you. What is inculcate?
No idea.
Inculcate? I don't think they had calculators then, did they? Inculcate. Simple word, Joycelyn. I mean, we are monosyllabic in use of our. If you notice the panel so far, yeah. So 2 syllables, maybe 3 maximum.
Back to English.
Back to English. Tell us what question you're asking, and then we'll try and discern it. Charn from Thailand says hello, and Ms. Barbadillo. I like her name. Her last name is awesome. Do you remember a superhero we had long time ago, my generation, Barbarella? You remember Barbarella?
No.
Wow. Okay, I'm gonna age myself. She was
What was her superpower?
a female, feminine superhero, Barbarella, and it was played by Jane Fonda, I think.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
Yeah,
I liked the costume.
Now I question everything because I don't know how much younger generation have the ideas about the things. I was trying to explain it. Like I'm not putting them into a race, like saying younger generation, but younger means some people are 45-year-old. They are still young because they don't have the idea. Like I was trying to explain it to this girl because she has got a lot of blockages in her heart, and I said, you have to work on those because you cannot see anything over there. And then she said, but I want you to help. What are you going to do? I said, I cannot take all of those blockages right away. Like it took you like 30 plus years to put it onto you. It is going to take some time. But what I'm going to do is in the meantime, I'm going to give you a little periscope so that you can see from here, go above that and see what is available on the other side, going above the blockages and see what is available. And maybe that will excite you. And then you will say, okay, so these blocks are doing so many things. So I'm going to start taking it out so that I don't need a periscope and I can see directly. And she said, what is a periscope? And I was like, okay, there goes everything I was talking to you for last half an hour. So I don't know how to explain it. So
actually, there is a Facebook Live type app called Periscope where you can live stream yourself and things like that. I think a lot of people have no idea about what the submarine or Periscope and all of that was all about. But is it just me? Do I have a dirty mind, or I actually saw you doing the Periscope thing and all of that, and I was just smiling away and saying, "Wow, up Periscope, okay, great."
What do you think? It's a wrong analogy. Like I was trying to.
Do you remember an old? Going back so far to black and white television. Do you remember a submarine show? What the hell was it? And I was always following it. It's like Captain Nemo's 50 Leagues Under the Sea, and these guys were there to keep the peace in international waters. And whenever you say up Periscope, that's when you go dive. Everybody goes down, and so they're wow. It just
I was very proud of that. I can explain it to her this way, but till I get to the point, like, what is a Periscope? I'm like, okay, and that's what she thought actually. I was talking about the Periscope, the app, and he was like, "How he's going to do that?" I'm like, "Okay."
Yes.
So that's how we know how old we are. Like not by age, but even the things we think about.
Well, no. We're not old. We're time travelers. We've been there.
There you go. Like
we came to the present time. I don't know what you mean by we're there. I mean, we time travelers. We travel.
We are collapsing the time. Time is relative. I was actually talking with somebody, and she said, "Well, 0.0." I was telling her I said, "Oh, this is what you had to deal with, not your boyfriend." And she was like, "Yeah, but everybody in the world think like that. I said, no, I don't think
Mm,
like that. And she said,
mm-hmm.
oh, because you are like a 0.0001% of the people.
Yeah.
You freaking meditated like crazy. I said, well, I didn't meditate for 2 decades or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was done in 5 or 6 years, and she was like, okay, that's a lot of work. And yes, that's a lot of work, but it is doable though, because you can collapse the time when you do all those things. It is like I lived my life in the last 4 years, like many people won't live it in 40 years of their life. And I'm
I
living.
Yeah, I wanted to have your perspective on that. Exactly what we're talking about, Luke and I. Something practical instead of going into spiritual hoo ha ha ha. Maybe some people are not ready for it. I got some feedback from a lot of people that said that some people are not ready for what we're talking about. So I'm trying to make it as practical as possible. And we started with decluttering, was it, Luke? And then examining your beliefs after you declutter your life and your mind and everything. And the third thing, maybe this is where you come in, which is very useful. How do we examine, how do we expand our mind? How do we explore new ideas? Maybe even compare with people and have differing beliefs about stuff. What do you recommend? I mean, on a practical level, for me, I would say read books, maybe attend lectures, seminars, conversations. A-Fest is such a good way to meet a lot of people from diverse cultures and diverse expertises. Expertises, is that a word? Expertise. You know what I mean? Uh, what do you think?
Well, I mean, it's at some point, right? You have to sit down and do the meditation. So you can't say it's too tough. I mean, I wouldn't say it's too tough. And people make a big thing about it. I said, just don't think about meditation as a meditation. Just fucking sit down for 5 minutes.
Which one first, fucking or sit down?
They both work. They both
Okay,
and
okay,
both give you immense pleasure. Okay.
okay.
So if people start like that, I know people are looking for a simple fix out of it. Like, how do you fix something which you accumulated over 30 years, and now you want to get rid of it in like 30 days? Like, and
Yeah.
anybody who tells you they can do that for you, they're freaking lying. Like you don't.
Yes. And
Yeah,
and the and the people who say I found love this week, are you serious? Are you out of your mind? It takes years to build trust, years to build love. It doesn't happen. I feel this way. I feel suddenly like this. So this must be the way. I mean, when we talk with new people, whether it's one person that we learn something on, you think we have literally awoken when we learn something new from someone? Like someone talks to it, like now you are sharing, Luke is sharing, and by listening to both of you, I learned something new or new perspective, even if
right.
it's not quote unquote new, a new perspective. And it allows me to do one of two things: as a father, to see how my son thinks; as a psychologist, to say, oh my god, this is how my son thinks, whatever the case might be. just
Techno-
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But you know what I mean, right? You are awakening by every contact you make with everyone, whether it's in a book, a movie, a discussion, a chat over a drink, what have you, or dance. Ashok's thing is dance. This guy is a. I know what his past life was, Luke. He was a Sufi dancer. He
Oh yeah.
just he
Bullet.
just
I was bullet.
world. You should see him. Yeah, I actually, when I first met him the first time, I thought he was wasted, and I told him, "Are you?" And I actually came up and told you that.
Right.
Remember that?
Right. And
Yeah,
you told the story. Yeah, you said you asked the bartender, like, you want to have what I'm having.
yeah, that's right. I went to the bar. Give me some of what that guy is having. I want, I want to be able to do that. That's so cool.
And he
And
says, and that's his story. He said he gave me water. I'm like, put some tequila in there. Like, that's what he's having. He said, no, that's what he's having. So
is what all he was having was water.
Yeah.
And so now Ashok is a somewhat of a legend in all the A-Fest. I mean, I'm serious. This man is legend.
But
That's
thank you.
awesome.
But also, you know, a lot of the people in AFS, okay, don't make that many friends.
Hmm?
A lot of people in the AFS, like the people say, oh, you go to the AFS and you get all this. Not everybody who get that, right? You have to be ready.
Mm.
And that comes to the readiness when people say, oh, well, we are not at that level that we can do meditation. So give us a quick fix. And that is what they are looking from you. A quick
Yeah.
fix. There is no quick fix. You have to do the work. You have to put in the
Yes.
work in there.
Yes.
Like if you are not ready to spend like 20 minutes out of your life and every day, and you say, I don't have the time, uh, that, you know, you didn't prioritize your life. And then people are like, oh, I have to go to the job, I have to do this thing, I've got a
Mm.
kid to do this thing. You can still find 20 minutes to a half an hour in your life to do nothing.
Yeah.
Like, don't think about that you have to do the meditation because you get scared of all these words and you think you are a monk. Do nothing for half an hour every day. And there is the bad news that everybody who says, oh, I'm doing this for the kids, I'm doing this for the money, none of them, you come to a point where kids come to you and you say, oh, I didn't do anything for me because I was doing it for you. I was raising it. And the kids are going to come and say, we didn't tell you to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You did that because you get a player out of, because the kid was something,
Mm.
you needed something to satisfy you for all the stupid things which you were doing because you didn't want to do the real work. You're like, no, I'm busy with the kids.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody can
Wow.
figure out. You know,
That
like,
kid.
yeah,
Such an ungrateful little dipshit, that kid.
yeah, yeah. But the kids are like, we didn't ask you to do, and they are like, okay, I thought when in my old age you wouldn't send me to the nursing home and you will take care of me because I took care of you when you were little. No, no freaking way. You know how much pressure you're putting on that kid? The one thing which I
Yeah.
told it to my kids is I said, I'm not going to give you any money because I don't have any. I'm going to give you one gift. I free you from doing anything for me, and I free you from proving anything to me because as a kids we always want to prove it to our kids. We are the greatest kid. We can do
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
this. And that's where it is. Like you have to do the work. There are no quick fixes for this.
True.
Um,
True. With Luke though, I have a deal with him. He is at some point going to put me in a nursing home. But the emphasis is on nursing. I want to be nursing.
right.
Yeah.
I know that. I can understand that. I feel the same thing. When I had the when I had the heart attack, right? And they put in all these stents in there, and I'm making all these jokes with the nurses. I mean, they are like, after a while, they were like, "Why this guy is in ICU? He should put him into the hallway, not even in a regular room. He seems
Yes.
okay, right?"
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it becomes complicated. But like you cannot just go around looking for quick fixes to your life. Just do the work. Spend half an hour for you. Like all the money you are working, and the another excuse. Kid is one excuse, another excuse. Oh, I'm doing so that I can pay my bill. Yeah. Or you could pay your bill because your car payment on that BMW is $700. Guess what is my payment? $225. And that car takes me wherever BMW takes you. Like I didn't find a place where somebody says, "Oh, your car cannot take you to this place, but my BMW takes you." I mean, it still doesn't fly yet.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
why I'm paying $500 more? And that's just an example. Like you have to live in a mansion. I'm like, you're a husband and a wife and one kid, and why you need a house which has got 8 bedrooms? They say, "Oh, what if when the guest comes in?" I'm like, okay, if the guests come in, even if you put them into a 5-star hotel for a week, it is going to be so much cheaper than 50, not 50,000, 15,000 mortgage you are paying every month. So
So
you
the
are,
the overall gist of what you're saying is that simplify your life.
Yeah, and like what once you simplify, you don't have to kill yourself to make
Mm,
money to pay those bills. You don't have to, and believe me, the kids and the animal and the camel, like you say, they will all understand this is half an hour you need it for you, and they will adjust and work around you. Like I've gone to my friend's home, and I said, "Well, I'm going to, like wherever I am, I'm like I have to go do the meditation," and she said, "Okay, go in that room, close the door, and do the meditation." I'm like, "Why I have to close the door?" She said, "Because my dog is very nasty. Right? He jump all over people. He if he doesn't like it, he's going to bark. He's going to scream, and he's going to be all over you, and he's going to disturb you in the meditation." I said, "No, you made him like that." I said, "I'm going to do the meditation." And I have gone to that room with the
mm,
open door with that nasty dog, according to her.
mm.
And I gone to the meditation, nothing disturbed me. And I came out of the meditation. The dog was sitting right next to me so nicely. And this is the most crazy dog who will bark like every second. No noise, sitting right quietly. In fact, she came in and she took the selfies while I was doing meditation. The dog was sitting right next to me, like just like this. So everybody will adjust to your schedule, but you are
Mm.
not putting it out, saying this is
I
what I need.
I now know the book you will write and the title of the book you will write.
Okay,
Conversations with Dog.
with dogs. All right, I
Yeah.
mean it's just a
So
like if
Neil
you're
Donald Walsh,
dyslexic,
walk out. Yeah. He's got nothing. Neil Donald Walsh.
right?
That book, what you do, is going to be the one that will change everybody's idea.
Right.
Would either one of you help Joycelyn with the question that she asked?
Okay, what is the question?
She elaborated. We tend to
Um,
grow with.
we tend to grow with what our ancestors teach us, their own practice and beliefs. Something when we grow up, we realize in our own journey that they're sometimes not useful to our own growth.
She continues.
Um, that's what we sometimes need to declutter and make room for our own personal beliefs, because we have to grow with different. We all grow differently, and in our journey here on Earth, we have our own journey and travel different roads.
I don't think that's a
Um,
question. That was just a
I don't
statement.
think that's the question. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
So,
that's true.
Joycelyn, all of us will give you a collective. I see. Okay. Interesting. How about Ting? Something is
Ting.
from Thailand,
For
but I
me,
don't
I
think some
said,
is the first
oh,
word.
Okay,
I
I actually I want to address Jocelyn.
Okay. Oh, you want to? Okay, good.
Yeah. So
A needle pulling thread.
so one of the
Flaw. A name to.
one
Sorry.
one of one of the things is, like how we say from until you're 7 year old, you are getting other people's programming. Okay. And like your parents, your teachers, your kids, and because you have got this empty database and we are filling up with that. So so what that is what is coming from the ancestors, because those people learn from their parents, and they don't know, and at a certain point, uh, when you become conscious and aware of it, you have to disconnect from that. I mean, I've got very strong and very well-known ancestors, which are very highly respected. Like if you go in and look at my last name, they will say, okay, these are very highly respected people in India. But then I also realized they put in some shit into my mind, which I had to sit down. And once I became aware of that, I disconnected myself consciously, one
Wait.
belief at a time.
What is a takur?
Thakur, what do you mean? What is Thakur?
Yeah. What
Like,
is a takur? Takur.
yeah,
When you call
so
a person a takur.
but
He
but
doesn't
that
want
is
to answer that.
yeah, that is the ancestral thing. And then when you become conscious about it, you question each one of them, and you can mitigate one at a time. I did it in my life, and actually, like last week was one of the times where Indians, they call it Shrad, where Indians remember their ancestors, right? Um, what is confusing is till like few years ago, I had no idea. I thought that thing is celebrated to remember the ancestor, but actually it is celebrated to disconnect your karma from the ancestor and saying, okay, I'm not going to carry on all the things which you told me. So Jocelyn, you have to, like, if you are aware of it, like it looks like to me that you pick any one of that and work on one of them like every week and do something to disassociate yourself from that particular belief. And I did that. That's why I want to chip in and give her a little path. Don't try to say I'm going to change all of it at one point. It doesn't happen like that. You pick up one thing, say, oh, my ancestors told me not to have sex before getting married. Okay, I'm going to work on that. So go have sex with somebody. I mean, I'm giving the example, like not literally that, but whatever else. My ancestor told me, like, you have to give your life for your kids. No, you don't have to give your life for your kids. You have to make them a better person. That doesn't mean giving life. Who put in that stupid idea into your mind, right? You have to take care of them till uh, when they are little, and then after they got 18 or 21, people are still trying to think they are the kids and trying to manage their life. No, you don't have to. Let them experience. Yes, they will be hurt once in a while, but that's okay. That's a part of learning. What are you talking about when you are trying to protect your kids? That's what happened. Then they end up in the White House and make the whole world stupid. Because if I thought about it. I'm not going to make a political statement, so that's fine.
In a building that's 30 stories high, first 2 or 3 levels, you see things on the ground level, which is genetic memory. You are born into a culture. You're born into a race. You're born into a black, white, household. You're born into a nationalistic ideal. Some nations are old, like nations in parts of Africa and Middle East and India, the oldest culture. Stories of Mahabharata and Bhagavad Gita, and then you have the Mohenjo-daro places that are, people were writing poetry while in the West they were still eating raw meat in caves. So it was very different culture in those times. But in the first 2 levels of this house called you begin to perceive that these things are important, cultural, what our ancestors say. So 100,000 years ago, they were very important rituals. You did this and this and this to be part of a tribe, a part of a group. And so as you did all of this, you grew. But as you attain a little bit more knowledge and growth, then you begin to be around the 7th, 8th, 9th floor. You begin to see that some of it are influences that are not from there, but from yourself. For some strange reason, the body you inherited has the genetic memory, but you, the you that is forever, the you that was never born, never died, actually is occupying this particular set of variables, of people, of everything, and you're trying to marry the two. So between the 10th floor and the 20th floor, there's a lot of struggle. And then after that, after the 20th floor, you begin to say, fuck it, it's not really that important. I'm tired of that struggle. And like you were saying now, I'm tired of being told that this is what I have to let it go. I have to let go of these practices. I have to let go of these traditions. I have to let go. They're useless. They don't make any sense. It's like, I think one culture there was, if I remember correctly, your ancestors said, go into this holy river and throw the water to the sun. And a holy man comes around and says, "What are you doing? Why are you doing that?" I say, "Well, because we've been doing it for years, my ancestors, and what does that do? Well, it makes the sun cooler so our crops won't die." I see. So the guy turns around and throws water in the opposite direction and said, "You're an idiot. What are you doing?" He said, "Well, I'm throwing water to my fields that are 5 miles away so that they won't dry up too." And so you see what I mean? You start to wake up to logic and ideas. Then when you reach the 30th floor, you begin to realize that all of this is a dance, it's a play, that nothing is important, but at the moment it is important. And that's the part that when you float between that, you begin to say, "Oh, what? Okay, is this important to you? That's okay. That's great. That's
Yeah,
fantastic. Do it."
but the issue is what is blocking us from moving from a second floor to the 30th floor is we made a lot of stories around it. We are like,
Yeah.
we took that ancestral thing and then we have our own thing which will serve us in a particular time. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then we kind of marry it just so that we can put that's the way oh well, I'm Indian, so this is what I do. No,
Yes.
you put in your own stories with that one and
Yeah.
justified with the ancestral karma to
Yes,
become that,
exactly.
right?
Yes. And
And
then
then
there are people that say, "I'm so proud to be Indian." What? It's an accident of birth. You did nothing to be proud of. You were just
oh,
born. You were just
yeah,
born. What the hell? What
right.
the hell did you do?
And
you know?
I have got a big problem with that. I mean, like that's how nationalists are born, and
Yes. Hey,
uh,
hey, a long time ago, talk about Singapore, right? 55 years ago, I think Singapore was Malaysia. And when one of the ministers, who was Lee Kuan Yew, who was part of that whole Malaysian government and all of that, had some big hoo-ha complaints and this and this and that, finally the chief of all the ministers, the Agong whatever, says, "Okay, cut it off. Here, there you go. Uh, you take Singapore. It's all yours, 100%. We're not going to help you. We're not going to do anything." And he started a nation on a piece of dirt that is 15 miles by 20 miles in size, and the island became this huge, to be reckoned with power, worldwide. So nations can come up out of nothing. The U.S., for instance, right? All of this invasions from the Plymouth, what was it, Plymouth Rock, where the first settlers came in, the Pilgrims and the people, and so on and so forth, and they gave the Indians, who were already owners of the land, 1,000 proud tribes, proud boys, were all there already, and
let's
and
not use
and
that word.
no, I'm just kidding. But they were all there and they were happy. And what did they bring? They brought the gift of slaughter, murder, disease, venereal disease, rape. I mean, come on. So what are you proud of?
The
It
only
doesn't
good
make
thing,
any sense.
they had it was the beautiful woman.
Where?
The people who invaded and took away from the Indians. I said the
The beautiful woman.
only good thing they brought was the beautiful woman. Everything else was a bunch of shit they brought it. Crap.
The Indians would disagree with you.
I know that. But Indians and the people from Venezuela,
Sure,
because
sure.
those are supposedly the best
So
looking people.
Joycelyn agrees with you. She says you keep what's useful for your growth, which sometimes is a lot too, but you have to change what's important for your growth to your spiritual, emotional, and physical. And I may say so, he, so you don't feel trapped all your life. And I'm
Yeah.
blessed that my parents are supportive with that growth. Okay, good. Her
Yeah.
parents like her
I mean
growth.
the thing is, which is
Usually I hide my growth from my parents so they don't see what I've been up to.
so the thing is to go from a second floor to the 30th floor. There is no elevator. You have to climb the steps.
You see, I believed people when they told me there was no elevators. We just never found one that worked. It's so easy. You gotta press the guru's proper buttons. He'll take you there. at
Yeah.
some point.
Well, that's another story because with all the hoo-ha going on with the gurus, like how do you know which is
How do you know? Yes, that's right. Guru of all gurus and
yeah,
so
yeah,
on and so
everybody is
forth.
a guru.
Yeah.
I mean, Luke is a guru for me. Like right now on this show, he's teaching me how to be quiet and grasp all the information. Okay,
Mm,
because he's intently listening to it. I'm like, okay, so he's a guru by sitting
yes.
over there silently, and not
Yes, he is. He is. His name. You know his name?
I
Guru.
Guru Gil.
What? 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 It's a WTF. Guru what? WTF.
I, there
What
is
the?
no way.
He says
There is no way you can make
WTF is happening here.
that.
What the hell are these guys talking about? Where can I come in and speak some sense for a change?
But think,
Respond to all. Respond to everything Ashok said, Luke.
okay.
I'm waiting until you guys get to the 30th floor before I hop in.
So somehow we need like an audio balancer over there because Luke is so like his audio is so soft, like not soft. The volume is so low. You are medium and I'm high, so we need like those people, audio people who are always adjusting, you know.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but but like I keep on saying, like we have to be like Jocelyn said. Yes, I'm aware, Shok Talk. Okay, then if you are aware, then you are on your path. That's what you do because that I I asked one of my close psychologist friend like because we were doing some work on somebody and she opened up all these wounds, like, and I said, so how do you fix it? How do you fix these? Okay, Mel is having a Zen movement, so I'm going to let him have that movement.
No, 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 no. I just I've been having this massive headache for the last 2 weeks.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, it's constant. It doesn't go away. It's through the programs. Sometimes I forget about it, and as soon as the program stops, I just go, "Oh my god!" and it hurts.
So
Like my head feels like it's exploding.
So that's why the program goes that long because once you get out of it, you are going to remember that headache. During the program, you don't.
No, 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 no. It's not that at all. I enjoy talking with all of you,
Yeah, thank
listening to your wisdom. There's a new friend I made, Ting Malawan, who is from Thailand,
you. Okay.
and she came on the show uh, a bit sad that she has no boyfriend or never had a boyfriend, and she feels that it's because she's not good looking or not attractive to Thai men. And I say you're not limited to Thai men; that you should go look.
I don't have any
You
ties.
Cute jokes, okay. She says I need a good massage. Oh, she's also a massage therapist.
You know
Just to,
how difficult it is for me to get an appointment from a massage therapist. Like I said, either you are too busy or you don't want to work. I have been trying for last 3 weeks. Um,
there you go. Thing New York City.
they
You will find a lot of work. Ashok is a good person to connect with, and he would be a person that would be a good resource for you to go. But she had a question here. Let me read it to
okay.
you. For me, she says, for me, I spent all of my heart, my energy, my effort for everything in front of me. In this mentality, my heart was broken and pained so many times until I was in a state of healing process. I've learned a lot mentally. I grew up day by day. I experienced how people used me for their profit. If you had bad companionship, you will become a philosopher. Uh, I I think it was Socrates that said that.
It helps
Uh,
kickstart the journey.
yeah, married people make the best philosophers because they're afraid to go home, so they hang out in the Parthenon and all of that. Yeah. Their wives are too lazy to climb up that hill to get to the Parthenon. But who knows? I have no idea. Even in Bulgaria, just outside Varna, about 10 minutes away, 15 minutes away, is a Alaja Monastery, it's called. The Christian monks over there, and they were married, by the way, also. And to get away from their wives, no women allowed. To get away from their wives, they built caves that were 40 or 50 feet high above the ground. The only way you could get on was when they dropped these ropes and ladders for you to come on, and then they pull them up, and they'll have their wives screaming, and they'll be doing their chanting and pretending not to hear.
And that is real. That is real, like the
Look,
caves where you
look,
have to
look
climb
that
up
up.
the rope.
No, I'm serious. Seriously. Now, of course, it's a monument for whatever. I have no idea what it's for.
So was there a question in
Yes, I think if you can respond to her, I think she's in a state right now where she feels used by a lot of people, and I guess. I think, what kind of
I'm so
advice do you
sorry,
need from
gentlemen.
what kind of advice do you need
I-
from Luke right now, who's about to leave,
okay.
or Ashok?
No, I'm not leaving. Let's talk about
Okay, you stay good.
yeah.
So, Luke, what advice would you give to Ting before you leave?
Yeah, I think at any given point in life, everyone's going to experience that some degree of feeling used, some degree of. But I think the most important thing is to look at it not from a victimhood mindset, and look at it as, how were we able to learn and grow from this situation? What was the silver lining that came out of it? And how you can change your own personal beliefs around whatever occurred to reflect a different experience in your future relationships and future experiences.
What is your
Um,
takeaway from that? Your learning, right?
absolutely.
And to not feel bad, whether somebody used her or left her, or even if your son leaves the show in the middle, don't feel bad. It's okay. Everything's going to be fine.
Yeah, I don't know where he has to go. He always leaves.
All the time.
Guys,
All the
where does
time.
he go?
I don't know. The Prime
We
Minister
have,
is
we have
waiting
to
for
get,
him
we
at
have
the
to get,
coffee shop. What can we say? Just so many things to
I'm
do.
we
trying
have
to
to get.
help you reach level 31, 32. Help you to let go.
Uh, we have to.
I have good news and bad news about that, because when you reach level 30, you find it's the roof. And all you do at that point is to put on your glide suit
And
and dive off the edge, because that's the point of everything, to dive off the edge and get back safely to ground zero and start again.
that's not called edging, though.
What?
I said diving off the edge is not called edging.
Oh, it's not called edging. But did I miss something? Is that a technical
No, you
term?
said you jump off the edge. Then
Yeah, but what is edging? What is
I
edging?
don't know. I don't know. You had to Google it.
It's
But
it's a sexual term. I
All
know
right,
it's a
guys, it was
sexual
a
term.
pleasure to
but
talk to you. Looking forward to next week.
okay,
All right, Luke. Thank you for coming.
See you
okay.
soon.
We
We
have
hope
to.
to see you soon.
Thank you. Um, we have to get our super spy Ellie to find out where Lou goes every Wednesday and Friday at this time. Where does he go? Like, what does he do? I'm curious. Like, what does he? Where does he go?
I am the father. The father is the last one to know.
I know that, but I'm not. I want to
Uh,
figure it out. I want to figure
yeah.
it out. Maybe that will bring me to Bulgaria. I'm like, okay, I want to have fun like it.
Well, you will actually. Bulgaria. The reason I go there, it's not because there's things to do, Ashok.
Right.
Although I'll connect you with my friend Maria and a few other people who are running spiritual seminars. They bring Cryon and all these other people there. Even the guy who does the Stargate stuff, I forget his name, Prajit something or other. They kind of solder so many different parts together, and the more complicated you can make it look like a tesseract or one of these advertising signs, then they call it the gate through which you have to enter. It's like, okay, all right, thank you. See, you can make a spiritual practice out of anything. Pick up a dandelion and breathe it in if you like, but it's gonna hurt like crazy.
You can pick up a spiritual practice looking at a plant. I mean, you could do it, anything. I mean, it's all the limitation.
Depending on what you do with the plant after, that's important too.
Okay. I understand which plant it is. If the plant is ayahuasca, then it's a different story.
And you'll be beyond the 30th floor. You'll be in the
Right.
60th floor.
If it is a cactus,
Yes.
peyote, it's a different story. So you can make a spiritual practice out of
Yes.
anything.
And if you try the plant that everybody is smoking nowadays in the United States, then you find that you're on the 30th floor, but you left all your clothes on the 10th floor.
There you go.
How the hell did I get there?
Clothes are not needed when you get up there. That's why all these. Did you see all these tantrics and all these people in India, like they are sitting naked over there?
Hmm.
I'm like, okay, I don't know what's the point about that, but then I kind of know because over here we wear very tight clothes and everything. So if you wear
Mm.
loose clothes, you are actually naked. You're naked inside your clothes, unless they are very tight. Then they are clinging to you. You know, like then
I'm
it's.
I'm naked under this coat and this shirt. Yeah.
Yeah, of course you are. So
It's
why you
nude.
have right? So yeah, and firstly, I want to really congratulate you on the last Wednesday show that you speak on your own for hour and a half without even looking at any comments or anything. You were like talking. I'm like, how can a person talk that much?
I forgot to look at comments and I just spaced out. Just
You were on a roll, but it was very like you talked about so many subjects. Like it was like a big uh kaleidoscope of all these things.
you know what someone said to me? They said, Mel, everything you say on your thing can be turned into a course. Each day can be a course. I said, yeah, but what's the name of the course? I don't know what to call it. It just, for me, it's common sense, but it's not so common to a lot of people. But
Well,
then again, when you reach a certain point, you begin to lose perspective of where you were before. And you say, how could I be thinking that way before? I don't understand. And in the last little while, I have to tell you, I went back to being human in the last 2 weeks plus, maybe. I went back to being human, and it is frightful. And I have all kinds of body conditions from that, and stress, and the headaches and all came from there. And I was like, wow, I am not as immune to all these influences as I thought I was. I became myself when I was 30, maybe 20 something, 30, and I said, holy, maybe sometimes we need to revisit that person in our vulnerability, you know? And I
and
became vulnerable. I became sad, Ashok. And
I,
I knew nobody could help me. And I wrote this poem that I posted about that. And I worked my way through it because I'm thinking all the time. And then I let it go, but the headache doesn't leave at some point. And
because you're
it's no one to be blamed. No one.
yeah. Well,
I
I
can't
mean,
blame anybody.
it's like I visit that human factor all the time. Like I
I
I
crashed to
think
earth.
right. I think I'm on this bridge between this reality and wherever I'm floating in. So on the bridge, you have the choice going one way or another. So sometimes you have to come to this human thing, uh, because I felt like that many times, but like a couple of weeks ago, like I felt like, okay, I have to visit this
Yeah.
to feel what the humans are feeling, because everybody started telling me, oh, nobody can be like you. I mean, you don't live in real life. I'm like, no, I do live in a real life. They were like, okay, uh, you have no idea about some of the things. And I'm like, okay, I do have. They like, you don't have any idea about how the pain is. And I said, I know how the pain is, but I don't want to suffer from that pain. So I'm not
Yeah.
thinking in my mind again and again about that. And I stepped into that one, and everybody who knew me, they got really scared, and they are like trying to reach out, and I have to tell them. I said, I'm choosing to feel this way for next 2 days because I want to realize what it is.
I don't think I chose it though. It just, I crashed and I don't know how and I don't know why. And I would like to give it reasons, but those reasons are very superficial. And so I in this state, which I still am in, there is a perspective of seeing everything from a helicopter point of view of, the world and everything around, understanding where we've come from, where we're headed, and that most of everything we have is illusion. But then a part of me questioned myself, what if I'm delusional? What if, in spite of all of this, even though it's changing lives, even though it's giving people a new perspective, what if I'm delusional and somehow have the ability and the power to force this uh, delusional perspective onto other people? I ask myself that question and try to figure that out. So somewhere along the way, I think the physical needs to catch up with the spiritual, because what happens to your body when your mind goes into realms that normally most bodies don't go into?
Yeah.
Most people live, they're born, they in a culture, or a country, a state, in a family, and then they go through life. They have school and education in a particular way, and so on and so forth. And at that point, they go find teachers, shamans, and what have you, and gurus, and what have you. And then they have a family, a wife, or several wives, depending on how many you cycle through, and 2.5 children and a dog, things like that, like society wants. And then you have a car and a house and a garage and all of that. And then at the end of it, you ask yourself that question. But when you reach that point, all of this is unimportant. Love me if you love, da and only me, and da da da, and then come the polyamory questions, and then other things and other things and other things. And next thing you go, what the hell is this place? You just go WTF for the whole place and say, this is pure insanity. And for what? At the end of the game, what do you take with you? None of that love you take with you. It stays behind and goes to some other guy or some other woman, and so on and so forth. None of that money you make stays with you. It goes towards a good cause if you're smart enough to set up some kind of foundation to help people that continues beyond you. And what about the children, like we were talking about before? I mean, look, we are stewards of the children, like Khalil Gibran says. They are bows that fly from our arrow. The arrows, sorry, that fly from our bows. And so as a result, they are their own minds, and they came from other. They're not your young innocent thing that grew out of your sperm and egg and da da da. They're souls that chose to embody themselves in, and chose you as father, mother, da 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 da, and go through all the experiences. It was done beforehand. No, now you ask yourself the bigger question: then what is the meaning of everything? And then you begin to realize you don't have the capacity or the ability to recognize what that meaning is. Or even if you were enlightened, or somebody comes up to you and says, "Hey, are you enlightened?" And you say, "Even if I tell you, how would you know? How would you be able to recognize that? How would you be able to tell? What comparisons do you have? You'll have a slew of you'll be this, and you'll be this, and you'll be this, and all these characteristics and all that. These are all in my mind. How would you know? Some idiot came up with all of this and told you this is how it would feel like, be like. But nobody actually went through it physically now, in this time, not ages ago where people can manipulate text and writing. Now, is there anybody who has actually reached that? And how would we know that they did? And number two, would they be able to teach us? Because they'll be at a level where all of this is meaningless anymore and they don't want to ask. Say, for instance, somebody comes up to you and says, oh, Mel, am I enlightened? Because I've been working on this for 30 years. Now I could say no, and they'll be discouraged, and they'll leave it. I could say yes and lie because I have no clue, and they'll continue with it. And like, I am enlightened, and they'll go forth and do their thing. But have I done a service, or have I done the reverse? Like, for instance, here Joycelyn says, life is a mystery, Dr. Mel. How the how does she know that it is? It's a mystery to her, but not to people like you, for instance, Ashok. You
Yeah.
already know because you come to a knowingness where it's no longer a mystery. You see the mysteries,
Yeah.
and to some people, like we're in ancient cultures, like people in the jungle, Amazon, like you were there in the Amazon, and some of them haven't seen people with clothes, and they haven't seen glasses that the ones you wear, and all of that. And why do you have your hair parted that way? And why are you not letting your penis hang out, like everybody else in the village, so on and so
Yeah.
forth.
How is
Yeah,
that different from your fingers hanging out naked?
exactly. And
Like,
and and so and so we think of them as unenlightened, lower creatures, and da da da, but they're not. I mean, in their world, this is it. This suffices. This is the 30th floor. This is it. And for Joycelyn, it's the 30th floor. For her to be able to mouth something like that is based on what? Other posters from other people who've been on their own 30th floor? So now you got so many gurus floating around. I'm embarrassed to be a guru. Embarrassed because how the fuck do you know? You
I
don't.
know, and I tell everybody, like a lot of people call me a guru. I'm like, I'm not a guru, okay? But then, I mean, the definition is very loose, though.
Yeah,
Uh,
but that question I'm asking now is what if you say right now, Ashok, you, Ashok the
yes,
Thakur. Is it Ashok Thakur or
yeah,
Ashok the Thakur?
no, Ashok Thakur.
because we learned about the family thing. The
Right.
Thakur has a different meaning, right? But
Yeah.
anyway, um, if Ashok Thakur right now says, I am your guru, who is gonna dispute you? There'll
How
be
do
a
they know?
Exactly. And also there'll be a lot of people that will want to pull you down, right?
Yeah.
Right. They will want to pull you down. You
Yeah,
see,
and
here's look,
and I
look,
don't
look, look,
care.
look, here's I pissed off another person right now, Joycelyn. No, Dr. Mel, you're right in every way. Just like we just had a fight, Joycelyn and I were, in the bedroom making love before, and now we're because we were saying the right things to each other. And now one thing I say, how the fuck does she know? She becomes upset, and so it becomes that. It's crazy.
Well,
Life is like this.
I don't think she's upset. I mean, maybe she got a different perspective.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I just wanted to keep on with the whole depressing thing.
Malinka says hi, gurus.
Malika, oh, she did. Hi, gurus. Hi, Malika. She's a sweet, sweet, sweet woman. We've been ignoring Ting.
Well, I have not been ignoring him. Okay, go ahead.
Joycelyn, I'm just playing with you. Relax, take a deep breath. No, I'm not far from where you are. Go ahead. Sorry.
Uh, why you say we are ignoring things? What she want to know? I mean, I know
The universe brought me to know a shaman who became my spiritual teacher afterwards. He taught me spiritual warfare and protect myself from bad spirits. Worked so hard to get me into depression. I restored my relationship with my spiritual guides and knew that I'm able to communicate with spirits sometimes. And this experience opened my perspective of the illusion in this matrix. Who are we to say that she's wrong?
Yeah,
See,
like
the mind is so powerful, Ashok. And this much I know as a psychotherapist for the last 40 odd years, hypnotherapy and all these other things. My God, if you believe this is true, you could create an energy form in the room and it would be physical to the touch. You can make it into a shape. You can turn it into an intelligence to go out and do your bidding. These are powerful people who can create thought forms this way. We call it elemental energies. But do these people even know? Because if you believe it's real, it's real. If you
Yeah.
don't believe it's real, then it withers away. You're not really there. Boom.
So it's all within you, though.
Kinda. Because if somebody can throw energy at you, which is negative, and they built it up and it's real, and it's felt in a 3D universe, dense matter as we are now, and you have some ability to protect yourself from all of this mentally and also psychically, set up a barrier. The
Yeah.
Tibetan monks do it all the time. For the
How?
last 300 years, they do tumo yoga. Tumo yoga is they start the fire in the first chakra, which is between the anus and the base of your testicles, or vagina if you have one, and a fire burns inside of that, and you keep the fire contained, and then you send it up to the second. The There's a Chinese word for that, the tantian, the tantian balance, the center of gravity balance, and you let it go back and forth a lot. They use this energy to raise their body temperatures by as much as 17 degrees, and they have competitions with each other to melt the snow around them in winter. And the one who melts the most snow is the one who has learned the most. And that energy goes through them and gets rid of viruses and bacteria. They literally explode in their system. And what they're talking about is it removes all of those vile thoughts, all of that terrible spiritual da 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 da. And they can do it with other people. They can pass it on to other people and therefore heal and cure and do whatever. But never is it used for bad, although it can easily be used for bad. Some people say, well, it won't have much energy. Yeah, bullshit. I've seen people who are very powerful who can do that. And when I fight them to save somebody's life or reverse what's happening with them, I mean, I see them. But then I ask myself this question: what exactly am I looking at? Is this real from a 10th story perspective, 20th story perspective, or 30th story perspective? On the 30th floor, nothing matters.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say that, because when you say, is it real? Why does it matter though? For you, it is real,
Yeah.
right? So it doesn't matter to you, because
Joycelyn and I have gone back to the bedroom again. The last statement. I love you too, kiddo.
so so and people ask me those questions all the time. They said, like, is this real? What is happening over there? I'm like, what does it matter? You think it is real, so it is real for you. It may not be real for me, because if I think it's all an illusion, I'm like, okay, I'm playing this game. I choose to play this game, and I'm playing it uh, the best way. But I know it. So what is real? What is not? Is it when we go to sleep, we dream? They are not real. How do you know we are not in a dream right now? So it doesn't matter really, because as long as you believe it is real for you.
So maybe I'm having an existentialist crisis right now. What is real? What is not real? Do I think it and therefore it is? I think therefore I am. Or is it possible that we've come to a level right now where even if we live and we recognize that we live in an illusion, nonetheless, the illusion requires us to pay rent.
Yep.
The illusion requires us to take care of the people we have a duty to take care of. The illusion requires that we pay taxes. The illusion requires that we vote and do what we do, and so on and so forth. And so how do you balance the two? How do you walk both worlds without losing your
because
mind?
because you can walk in this world, or the transactional world, which I call it, as long as you have surrendered to the outcome. I used to say, like I started changing my words on that one. I will say, oh, you don't get attached to your outcome, but a lot of people have got problems with that. They said, if I'm in love with this guy, how can I not attach the outcome? How can I be detached? Because then I'm not really in love. And I said, okay, stay in love and do everything. Your intentions, desire, they are all good things, but you surrender to the outcome.
The question I asked them is, what exactly are you in love with? When they say, someone has asked me this question, what exactly are you in love with? And he said, that guy. No, I know you said that guy, but what exactly are you in love with? Oh, sorry. Sorry, my computer talks to me. I only have 18 gigabytes of storage left. I've been writing a lot and doing a lot of stuff, so editing. I got to create more space for here and for my computer.
Started working on the computer when they have 2 kilobytes of, not even 2 kilobytes, like actually, 2 kilobytes of memory, and kilobyte, then megabyte, then gigabyte, and now like you say, 18 gigabyte is not like my computer is talking to me too. But
see, that's it. That you just hit upon another analogy. Running only at low capacity, 2 kilobytes, and for here 18 gigabytes. How do you expect to have and contain the knowledge of the universe, which is 100 million terabytes? How do you hope to contain all of that? Or do we ad hoc refer to it when it comes to us? Does it make us better as human beings, or does it make us grow or not grow, and so on and so forth? We don't know. Oops, what happened?
I thought somebody else is coming on.
No. Well, we see a lot more though. Now we see one picture. Now we see 2 pictures above you.
Oh, 3.
Three. I mean, sorry, 3, 2 more. How cool is that? For me, there's darkness.
Oh,
There's more darkness.
so when you say, what are you in love with? You're saying, what are you in love with in that person?
What exactly are you feeling for that person? Because I am of the opinion that you could be in love with anything. A dog, a camel, in exactly the same way. You can be in love with somebody else. I don't know how many people, older folks, if I talk to them, do you remember the first time you fell in love with someone? Yes. Do you remember how it ended? Yes. And you thought you would die? Yes. And that was how many years ago? 30 years ago. But you survived. Yeah. You found somebody else. Yeah. And you didn't die. No, I didn't. So I go back to what Buddha was talking about, the Siddhartha Gautama, another Indian who was neither proud nor unproud of who he was. But he said to one guy who came up to him, I miss her so much, master. Who? I said, this woman that I fell in love with, I miss her so much. My heart aches and I'm going to cry. And he went on and on and on and talked about how he lost the love and this and this. And Siddhartha just turned to him and said, young man, are you telling me that you are attached to this bag of shit and urine? I'm serious. It's in the annals that he wrote. You can find it. Google it now. We have Google. It's so cool.
I understand that. Well, that's what we call it.
And he spent that whole time telling him that she's nothing but a bag of shit and urine, because you're in love with an idea, and she happens to fulfill that idea. You're in love with a set of criteria from youth, from whatever, that tells you about this person. Once in a long, long while, do you meet somebody you knew in a previous life that you were in love with. It could have been male, female, makes no difference. And that recognition and that joy of being with that brother, that sister, that lover, that father, mother, and you just want to be with that person. And that's different. That's a whole different thing. Rather than being consumed by someone until your life seems like it's going to end. And so I understood all of that, and then at some point I began to. I think I found the where the well, where the lift well is supposed to be. And you're right, there is no lift, elevator. I just fell through the well. And I'm at ground floor. I just landed on ground floor, unceremoniously landed on ground floor. And looking around and saying, what the fuck is this place?
But also, sometimes I think about these things, when the Buddha said that's a bag full of shit and urine. Maybe that was his way of handling this stuff. That was his perspective. That's why he was able to get out of this world, because he put in all these things which are like so gross that nobody wanted to do that. Maybe his perspective at certain point was also not the best perspective of life. Now I'm talking about Buddha, but hey, I question everything. I mean, I
Sure,
question,
sure.
right? Because now how he can love a woman because he wanted to be celibate, and then how he can love a woman
Be
if we think about
be
her,
be attached.
right?
And he was very honest. And when he said, "Why are you not with someone right now?" He says, "I don't need to be. I this is not my path.
Right.
This is not my." In other words, this path is not meant for everybody. The spiritual path is not meant for everybody. The Sunday spiritual path. You know what I mean by Sunday spiritual path? The people who are spiritual on Sunday, da 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 da. Somehow the rest of the week become little devils again, and so on and so forth.
So
But here is the thing. For some people, they are required and necessary. Otherwise, we don't continue with life if everybody becomes a Buddha, not needing anyone. And then you ask a question, and somebody asked a question of me once yesterday, actually. They said, then how do enlightened people get into relationships, enlightened relationships? I simply say enlightened people are not looking for relationships. For what? For
okay,
what are they?
so let's
Completion?
come to that. Let's come to
If,
that
if,
point.
if, if they're looking for completion, they're not enlightened.
So
If
the
they're
enlightened,
looking for validation, they're not enlightened. They're looking to be loved. That's not necessary, because as a Buddha, one who is awakened in love and everything else, you are the source of all love. 30th floor thinking. You
yeah,
come down and you try and sell this idea on the first floor. It won't fly. Nobody will buy it. That you are the only source and the direction of love is from the inside out. Don't expect anything back. If
but
something does come back, it's a gift. And if you require it back because you want to leave the relationship because of that, is no give and take, then it's no longer love. It's trading. It's what people at the first, second, third, fourth levels do.
but like when you say enlightened people are not looking for love, I understand that totally. But that doesn't mean,
Why does an enlightened person need a relationship?
okay, that's two different things. Relationship and love are two different things for me. Okay.
Okay, to
Okay.
explain the difference, I don't know the
So they
difference.
explain the differences. Why uh, enlightened people are not looking for love is because they have so much love inside them, and they don't need anybody else to fulfill. That does not mean enlightened people doesn't fall in love. Like fall is the wrong word. I know you are going to pick up on that. I mean, for the limited vocabulary we have it, you understand what I'm saying. But
This
like they are
sounds
not.
like a really clumsy enlightened person. He walks in there. Oh, the fucker little fell down. He
Right,
fell
right,
down. Oh Lord, I fell in love. How did this happen? I fell. Hey, it's
right.
an accident.
But the enlightened people is not
When
such.
would it be a conscious choice?
So enlightened people are not looking for love, but that doesn't mean love doesn't happen to them. It
Now,
appears.
at the risk of making other people hate me as well, Are you saying that enlightened people seek conscious coupling?
No, no, I'm not even going there. Uh, but that's the whole you like all these concepts. But I'm what I'm saying is, even though you are not looking for love, and actually that is the time when you become this entity where love get attracted to you, and when something is happening in this life, whether you call it illusion or whatever, it is not right now. Like if I'm an enlightened person, which is a work in progress for everybody, uh, but to refuse that and to deny that forcefully, say because I'm enlightened and I don't want this, is also not right, because that is also a gift of God, the love, as long as you are not looking to the other person to fulfill something in you. What about if there are two, like you were talking about the two souls, and I don't want to use this term soulmate because it's so much misused, but like
These
two,
are brilliant, lovely, attractive concepts. Have you seen it work in real life?
work what? Like enlightened people in love?
Mm, yes.
I mean, it depends who the other person is. If the other person is also spiritually, uh,
Have you seen it in real life? Conceptually, it's beautiful.
I think that
Wouldn't it be wonderful if blank, 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 blank?
something to think about. I'm
I am at that point where I want to love everybody on this planet, male, female, and those in between. There are now those in between.
yeah.
Uh, and others, not animals per se, because I'm not sure how to do that because I'm still eating them. It doesn't make any sense, to say you love an animal and yet, or you love the animal kingdom and yet you're eating a hamburger every day or whatever. A lot of things don't make sense. Even when I'm walking right now and paying attention, it's so tight. Every day I'm paying attention to the ants under me, Ashok. My garden opens up in front of me and I'm actually paying attention to where I'm stepping. The littlest thing on the earth. I don't understand where it's going. I don't understand why it's there. But when I look at people that I love from a body perspective, person, with a penis and all of this, and there are desires for sure. They're coming up, bubbling up because I'm a man. You see a beautiful person, beautiful body, and the first thing you have is hormonal flush. But that's the first fire. The first fire you go through. And I go through and I say, how much of this is going to be useful when when you exercise this and bring it to fruition in some relating to someone, on a physical level, having sex and all of that, because it binds you to more karma, more karmic bonds. It implies a relationship. If not, it implies fidelity of some kind. Where and this is where love fails, is when one person becomes special to another person because now ego is involved. And yet if you want to be able to maintain this flow of love, ego is not involved. You love not to get love in return. You love because it's a privilege to love, even to touch someone. It's a privilege to be able to touch. So with all of the pain I'm going through, because I fell through that elevator well, there was no elevator. The construction people stopped. And I'm on ground floor a few days ago. And My whole body is suffering. Everything is turned upside down, from blood pressure, physically, blood pressure to blood sugars to brain to, it's not working the way it was working before, and I don't know why. I take a look at all of this growth in the last little while, and all of a sudden, a part of me says, "Okay, starting Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's time to clean up everything I'm doing and lose the 20 plus kilos that I've gained in the last little while deliberately. Don't know why. Had to understand how everything worked. I mean, I'm at the point where I could die on Monday and not return. But I'm not afraid. And it's not that I'm not afraid of death. Is the only thing that I would regret is that there's so much more I want to teach about what I see, what I feel, what I know. And I want to ask other people, are you feeling the same thing? Are you seeing the same thing? Are you listening to the same thing? Do you see the patterns of everyone around you? They are living patterns, predictable patterns of behavior, of thought, of energy, of speech, of everything. So deliberate. And you sit there and you stay quiet, because if you say something, you're going to piss off somebody. If you disagree with somebody, you're going to piss off somebody. And even if you agree, you're going to still piss off people because you don't agree exactly the way they are. And so you're like literally, have you seen the movie Planet of the Apes?
Yes, I did.
Oh my God, that describes this planet, because people get angry for no reason. And they thump on their chest and they rail on you and do all kinds of stuff. And then how do you have fidelity when we should have freedom to love everybody? It's like, what are you? Where's the honor? Where is the integrity of any of that? Where are the roles? Oh, today I'm going to be the man and you be the woman. What? I don't have orifices made that way. I'm not sure. So there's a lot of questions out there. It's as if somebody started an experiment a few thousand years ago and then abandoned the experiment, called humans, abandoned it. So I'm apt to believe what I hear, what I now reading about the origins of all religions and everything leads me to one perspective, that the Anunnaki, which means they that come from the clouds, from the sky, seeded this. There was a faction that separated these earth creatures. And why? Well, they created slaves to do the work for them, to mine, to do the dangerous things. And one of the brothers decided, well, we should free them, let them live their lives. The other says, no, fuck it, we're just going to kill them all. We'll destroy the planet with a flood, with fire, we'll do something.
Well, I mean, now we have got the scientific evidence that around 200,000 years ago, there was the mutation of the chromosome 2, which is scientists have got a problem in figuring that out. They said it cannot, there is no way that can happen by itself. So something interrupted that to
Yes,
create that.
exactly.
So
I read that too. Yes.
so so
And
yeah.
so this brings us back to the question: ground floor, 10th floor, 20th floor, 30th floor. Because the Anunnaki, the Elohim, spoke among themselves and says, look, the man has become like one of us, knowing the difference between good and evil. I call that consciousness, the ability to discern what is useful and what is not useful, what is good as opposed to bad, and so on. They are able to think in dualistic ways and yet singular ways. Before, as a slave, you're not. You just follow orders. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. That kind of thing. And then there is another thing keeping them away from that. Don't let them live forever. So we genetically switched off that marker that allowed us to live 1,000 years. And now we're only beginning to discover that we can turn that particular set of genes off that allow us to age. Amazing, isn't it? We're that far away.
But also, like if you think about it, whether we are on the second floor or on the 30th floor, depend on who is looking at it. If the person at the 60th floor is looking at the person at the 30th floor, we are just little child over there, right? But if the person at the second floor looking at the 30th floor, we are much high. We made it all these scales that where we are. Um, what is happening to you is the similar thing is happening to me for last 1 week, and I got a blood test done, and my cardiologist was so mad at me uh, because my triglycerides were so high, right? So it is trying to bring me back to that reality. And I also have this notion or an understanding that when you are growing up so rapidly, you're basically collapsing time and you get to a spiritual level, which I believe you did. I believe I did to some extent too. Uh, you have to be somehow brought down. Like and there are a lot of stories in the Indian mythology, like they say this rishi has meditated so much that he was going to reach the gods level. Then the gods got together. They said, we have to break this because we don't want him to get to that level. And they sent these beautiful women to dance over there to break their meditation and all those things. So what if we are at a spiritual level and we are going to jump to the next level, because there is a gap over here? Like once you get to a certain level, we can only go physical in the physical body up to that, and we are going to jump, and somebody else, something else doesn't want us to jump, and they are pushing us back. That's where they bring your heart problems and my triglycerides and all those things and bring us back. And they're like, no, that's not real, because they want us to forget that concept. And they say this is real because, oh, you have a heart problem, you got a high cholesterol, you got a high glyceride. I think these are the things which are used to make our muscles stronger so that we can move into the next spiritual level. And
Something just happened though. I had a thought while you were talking. You seeded the thought, and it just expanded on its own, literally bloomed. I think it was Anais Nin who said, for her, finally the day came in her life when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk to bloom. And something happened just now. My headache, it disappeared, that I've had for weeks.
wow.
It just disappeared. And I'll tell you why. Because of a single thought. That said, if there's such a disparity between 30th floor objectives, viewpoints, ideas, perspectives, make the 30th floor the first floor. Bring it down. Destroy the building. Wait,
Wow.
what do you mean destroy the building? I'm having conversations with self. And destroy the building means you make accessible everything that the mystics took years to do. Make it accessible now. And that demands that as a collective, the entire planet now takes a quantum leap forward in consciousness, pushing humanity forward, if you will. And so I think this is my task in the next little while. If I make it past Monday, this is my task, is to collapse that building, bring everything to nature level. And is it possible for you to be enlightened in 5 days, 10 days, instead of 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, like Siddhartha did every day? Yes, but there has to be a discipline, an action, just like martial arts. If you want to be good in your art, you cannot sit there and meditate on that, but you need to go through the practices. And
Right.
so the thinking practice is the most important thing, because everything is mind.
Yep.
And the mind creates this inaccessibility of God's thinking. So my job is to turn men into gods. There's a word for that: apotheosis.
Hmm.
Apotheosis is the process of turning men into gods.
What do
Uh,
you do with
t-
the
t-
woman?
turning, well, including all women, we're talking mankind, right?
Right. No, I was just kidding.
No, I wasn't kidding. It's true. Everybody has access to this, and so this apotheosis means, how do you think like gods? When you start thinking like gods, no longer is there oppositions, because if you start thinking like men, then in a battle, um, one side is praying for the destruction of the enemy, the other side is praying for the destruction of this enemy, and you got people praying the same thing, same person, for the destruction of the other person, and killing, and torture and rape and whatever else they do in war, brutality. But what if you were God? You have one child praying that you would send retribution and suffering to the other side, and you have another child saying, I want pain and repetition to that side because he started it first, and now you are this being. And so the two sides have to learn some things, like forgiveness, which is what you teach, Ashok. Forgiveness. And the forgiveness brings people together and sides together. Now, if you can work that miracle in a small classroom in New York, and then go to Sedona where you're going to do this bigger classroom, and then around the world when you get bigger and bigger and bigger, can you take this to the Middle East? That would be awesome, to create true forgiveness, because that will stop the hostilities. God cannot kill his children. If I'm a father and you're a father, no matter what our children say or do, these ungrateful wretches that they are, you know, uh, we still love them. Not because we have no choice. It's unconditional love. So I'm learning as I crash through the stairwell on the first floor that this is the same way with love, with my whole life. I could have a violin song going, oh, they all loved me, used me, left me, da da da, bullshit, 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 and more bullshit after that. But really, the reality is, it is I that put myself in all these situations. For what? Because there was need. What if there's no need? What if that person I care about, love, and I'm aware of is just a bag of shit and urine? And what if some of that leaks out, not just in that orifice, but in this orifice? What's this shit you're saying? Does it da 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 da? So
I mean, like the thing is with all these things, it's a matter of perspective. But then, how you are going to look at somebody, um, and feel like how you appreciate the beauty if you think like every good.
anything is beautiful. Everything is beautiful.
Right, but then you
Have
can.
you have you ever looked at shit and see what it does in your garden? Everything is useful. It's like you sit back and you listen to them and you go, if I take it in, yes, I'm going to be disgusted, but you don't have to take it in. Just listen to, watch it spew, and say, okay, are you done? What shall we do with that?
But you know it, like when we talk about shit and urine, like people drink urine, like there was the Prime Minister of India,
Yes,
Morarji Desai, who will drink his urine every day. So it's a matter of like, but I'm saying like it's because it's all coming from the mind, how you think
it
about
is
it.
the mind. It is the
Yeah,
mind.
yeah, and so I don't want to discount the beauty which is all around me. You're checking your headache.
No, it's gone.
Yeah, oh, and that's
We're talking a few weeks of this building up tight like a balloon about to explode, and I'm sure I didn't. I'm alive, right? In
yeah,
front of
you
you,
are
yeah,
alive.
yeah.
Like boy,
And
if I'm alive,
and
you're alive. If we are both gone, then it's a different story. Then it doesn't matter to us because we are in a
because
different.
no, I'm wondering if that ease or pressure was a aneurysm of any kind, but I should be dead if there was. Malinka says, Mel, with your thoughts and headaches disappearing, was a glitch in sound and no connection for a moment. Well, that's odd because something cooled inside my head, and I just suddenly realized that uh, I knew it all along what I had to do. So I give and give and give, but there was always this other aspect to it, the business aspect to it, and all of that, and people using and not. Can you believe that Thai woman still hasn't paid me till now from December last year? And she's on a circuit. Ashok, this is so funny. She's on a circuit. Talk about illusion. She's on a circuit in Bangkok as the most successful businesswoman in, in Bangkok. It's building a reputation, and this is where right action comes in. You take care of what you said you're gonna take care of, and if you don't do the right action, it's gonna come and slap you in the back of the head, just like Trump and his taxes and his life and all of that. It's gonna come and hit you in the back of the head. So, in the same way, if we live a life right now, knowing that you're minutes away from a death, that you will be taken from here at any point, and that the reason you're here is not absolute. You're not here to do a task. A lot of people in the graveyards were in the middle of their task when they died.
So
So,
I ask you a question. You have
yeah,
so many tasks lined up for you.
I cannot die.
No, I mean, I'm like, what's the point of all of this? Because I
Oh,
give
but you see, all of it is interesting and all of it is fun. From
that's
rocket, from rockets to space to all of this, but none of it in the long run matter. Like here, this
right,
task to uh, apotheosis, right? To be able
right,
to turn that, it's a project. It's a fun thing,
right,
and if I finish it, great. If I don't, I don't.
right.
So, so there is no sense of importance. It's just one man's idea, which
Right.
may
I
be
mean, and
wrong.
because they are making your journey so interesting and adventurous, that is the only importance of all those tasks. It's not that where you're going and what you're doing, and um, I know you want to give it a higher spiritual level or something like
No,
that.
no, no. I don't. I don't.
But
I don't know. I don't know what is high or low. What if the building was not 30 stories tall? What if the building was on its side?
Yeah,
And everything is accessible depending on which direction you go to. You know what I mean? It's 2 hours. Holy shit! What did we talk about in 2 hours?
we were
Nothing.
talking on so many subjects. It's so freaking intriguing to think about these things. But like I mean,
And
I
and here I wanted to make it practical, and I went off again. It's like, geez, man.
I mean the thing is like if you have the task because you are having a fun in the journey, but other than that, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. I don't want to do many tasks myself. Like I'm like, I'm doing this retreat. I have these people. I'm like, you do this, you do this, you do this. They said, well, what are you going to do? I said, I'm just going to be there. My presence is going to be there. That's all I can contribute to this, right?
Okay.
And
Yeah.
everybody is doing everything, right? Because I don't get fun in like finding out where the food is going to come from, where uh, whether we need forecasts to take people on this tour to a vortex or wherever we are going. I don't get fun in that one. So those are the tasks I'm like, I don't like it, so I'm not going to do it. I like talking to people and helping them in whichever way I can, and that I can do. So you only are supposed to do, not you in particular. Like the one only is supposed to do, have the tasks which are bringing fun and adventures and playfulness to their life. Everything
When
else.
when
Sorry.
just a piece of advice, if you're putting a team together, because whether it's a company or a spiritual group, if you're putting a team together to make that happen, find someone for whom, like you already are the person that loves talking to people. Find somebody else who loves details and getting into the details of everything. Find somebody who loves the logistics.
Yep.
Find somebody who loves the advertising, and you've got a great team. But if everybody loves to talk, then nothing is going to be done. It's
Right.
going to be a problem. Yeah.
and and I understand that, and I pick up the people accordingly. Um, we were going through like a bunch of private chefs, like who to choose, and I interviewed them, and there was this private chef, like did, not that she was cheaper or anything. She said, I will love to come to that retreat because I love what you are doing. I did not know this woman from anything. Somebody referred it, and I was interviewing the chef, and there was another chef for whom it was just a business, and for this chef, she loved to be in that environment, and she said, I have been waiting for something like that to happen. I said, you are the one.
Wonderful.
Right. Because now think about it. Um, it's not somebody who just saying, "Oh, I'm getting a bunch of money, and that's why I'm doing it." Of course, she's getting some money out of that, not as much because she wanted to be in there. So that's how you select people, like whose passion is to do something, who are passionate about it.
We we go into somebody who we are unfamiliar with, but yet somehow we are united in this great invisible gossamer web called this intriguing universe that joins everybody together. If you're meant to be,
Yeah.
then you're meant to be together, and it'll be a lot of fun. Ashok, I have good news and bad news. Which one do you want to hear first?
We have to close. That may be a good or bad news, both.
That's the bad news, actually, that we have to, because it's gone to 2 hours already, and a lot of people find it so hard to listen to this program. My mother complains also as well.
Yeah, but like then a lot of people came in 20 minutes ago. What about those people? They want to hear more. But
Well,
no,
once we are off air, then they can hear the whole thing all over again from the start. And the
right.
good news is you are brilliant, Mr. Spiritual Chef. You're brilliant with what you bring to the table, and in this discussion. And I appreciate talking to you about all of these things. And like I said before, there's an energy about you that is without guile. Do you know what that means? It means
Oh,
that
no, I
you
don't.
have no ulterior motives.
Okay.
You
And
just
what is the word
simply
you use for that? Without what?
GUILE. You
Hmm.
have no guile.
Okay. I mean,
So
thank you
yeah,
so much for seeing that in me. I
it's
appreciate it.
true. It's true. I
Yeah.
mean, look, I saw it in the beginning already. I wouldn't invite you to the show if I didn't think that you are that kind of person. And there are people selling themselves, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
And so they may show up once, and then that's it, and nothing else.
Yeah.
If you're there to serve, that's good. You
I
notice
have,
I'm selling nothing.
yeah, I know that. I mean, even with this thing which I'm doing, like I had a big discussion with my team because there was a marketing person, like there was a there was a there was a person who was going to do all this branding and everything. I'm like, why you're going crazy with all these things? I understand they are part of it. And they are like, okay, we are going to make this much money if we get that many people. I'm like, no, it's not about money. Let's do it where our costs are covered. And I said, they said, so what do you get out of it? I said, I get to go in a beautiful place to do what I want to do, and I don't have to pay for it. I said, that's what I get out of it. And so we lowered down the price to the cost, and they started telling me, they said, if you don't even have 10 people, your cost is going to be much higher and you are going to lose money. And I said, because I'm going to have more than 10 people, and we are already beyond that. Okay, because the money is important. I understand it. The person who does the website needed to be get paid. The person who is doing the catering needed to get paid. But it's not. It doesn't have to be all about it. There's a so. But I know we have to close, and I thank you very much. I appreciate you very much in my life. And I think you were at a point of spiritual level where you were going to cross over, and these gods send in their own things to bring you back, because they are like, no, you have a heart issue, you've got a high cholesterol, you've got a triglyceride. It happened to me last week too. And I'm like, I'm going to see the cardiologist because he's mad at me, and he's like, you're a non-compliant patient, you don't take any
Nah,
medication, you don't do that. And I said,
you,
okay. Yeah.
so so I tell my cardiologist it's God's fault, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
God's fault that I ate too many chocolates. It's God's fault that I did that. No, it's not. I'm 100% responsible. Um, we I just have questions that want to ground enlightenment and awakening. I want to make it a natural process where people don't just wake up in the morning, go into their rail transportation services, the tube, subway, head off into work and mindlessly work from 9 to 5 in a job, come back exhausted in the same subway transport, mindlessly cook dinner for their families, look after their kids, try to have fun in the process, Netflix and chill occasionally on the weekends, and then repeat the cycle again. But why not wake up every day with that sense of enlightenment where the job becomes a, what shall we call it, a practice, a meditation of sorts. I don't know if you remember a book that was written many years ago called The Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. That kind of
No,
thinking. Yeah,
okay.
it's about 50 years old, which kind of
Okay.
tells you kind of books I used to read. Um, Zen, it's called Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance.
Wow.
The best spiritual book you could ever pick up and read. Spiritual book. The title doesn't tell you that, but it is. And you go into that Zen mind where you are Zen about your relationships. You wake up every day and saying, wow, this is a body. Yes, it's full of shit and urine, but it's a body, it's a person with a consciousness that is talking to me, being with me, spending time with me, being sexual with me, whatever the case might be, And I get to listen to the idiotic thoughts that come from this person. Whatever the case is, I don't know what you think in terms of yes, no, uh-huh. And then you watch the patterns, and then the patterns get in the way because people become predictable. Say one thing, they'll react this way. Say another thing, they'll react that way, and so on and so forth. So Malinka has read that book. You're right. It's the best book ever. I'm in that mindset right now where almost everything I do and feel and think, right down to creating music, right down to talking with you, is a Zen. It's a Zen moment. It has no meaning, but it has every meaning.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely, and I feel the same way. And it's like in the moments when you are going through all of these things, when we are talking, I feel Zen too. I mean, like, and people can say, I mean, it's not that I got nothing else to do for 2 hours, and I'm sure you got a lot of things to do for those 2 hours, but we choose to do that. And Mel, we are already creating those people who wake up every day better than how they wake up last week. Okay, because we are throwing this energy out, and people are listening, so there are little things in their minds which we are changing without even they knowing it. So I thank you very much for that, and I will be. It will be lovely to hear your clothing because I always love that. Thank you.
Ashok, thank you once again for staying with me this long. And Ashok, the Thakur, is still a shy shaman from New York City who gives and shares of his wisdom. Ashok, thank you tonight for
Thank you.
being with me in this discussion.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And that brings us to the close of Uncommon Sense. Somewhere along the way, we talked about the risk to bloom in our discussion with Ashok. We all face this turning point in our lives repeatedly, as I'm going through right now, when resisting the flow of inner events suddenly feels more hurtful than leaping towards what is unknown. And yet no one can tell us when to leap. There is no authority to bless our need to enter life, but the God that is within us, the One, the Nameless, by a billion names. How often we thwart our thinking, or even ourselves, by holding on tenaciously to what is familiar. It's instructive, if chilling, that in floral shops the roses that won't open are called bullets. That's what they call them, bullets. They are discarded because they will never bloom. They have turned in on themselves so tightly that they can never release their fragrance. So we cut them off. And yet, as spirits in bodily form, we have the chance to tighten and bloom more than once. But even spirits, if turned in on themselves enough, may actually grow accustomed to being closed. Unlike roses, however, the human chamber can be shut down for years. And still, it takes one breath from the true center and we will flower. One breath, one realization, and a headache can disappear that you've held on to for a long time. One idea that can cause your whole body to close in on itself, and people won't be able to smell or taste or feel or hear you. It has always amazed and humbled me how the risk to bloom can seem so insurmountable beforehand, and so inevitably freeing once the threshold of suffering is crossed. I have a friend who is in recovery right now in the hospital. And when asked what made him stop his habits of drinking, he says the pain of drinking became greater than the pain of not drinking. The same can be said for all of us. We can flower in an instant as soon as the pain of not flowering and not loving becomes greater than our fear of loving. We just have to see beyond a horizon that we have never ever crossed. And when we do, we don't die. We surmount one way to see things. And we are born into another way to see things. And that's the magic of life. Good night, everybody. You've been listening to the voice of Dr. Mel Gill. This has been Uncommon Sense. Wait a minute. Nisha, Rani,
Hello, Mel.
hi.
How are you
You
doing?
you do realize that we're closing the show. It's been on for 2 hours now.
I know.
I saw you in the back room and I said, wow, this woman's impeccable sense of timing goes from Varna to London. It's the same. I'll be there at 1 Mel, and 3 o'clock she shows up. Holy crap. Um, uh, the way this StreamYard works, I have 2.5 hours of uninterrupted programming, and then it shuts me down, cuts me off. So,
Okay.
would you like to do this on Wednesday next,
Wednesday will not be possible.
or Friday?
Friday.
I only do it Wednesday or Friday.
Okay. So what we can do, we can be in touch because it's possible that I will be flying to Varna on Friday.
We can do it from Varna.
Okay.
It will be good for
So,
me in so many ways.
okay, well, if I'm not flying at that time, we shall
You-
see each other on Friday.
Awesome. We look
Okay.
forward to it. But before you go, and the reason why I clicked on this is you do realize you have a few hundred people listening to you, or will be listening to you if they're not listening now.
Okay.
Tell everybody what you are, who you are.
So my name's Nisha Rani. I've recently just graduated. Well, I will be graduating from medical school, but I've just finished my medical studies. But alongside my medical studies, I went through a process of spiritual awakening, and I became sensitive to many more things than just the physical ailments that patients suffer with, that we all suffer with. And I was called to explore that, explore the emotions of people, and explore how we hold traumas within our bodies. And funnily enough, I went through my own traumas within my own life. And being in the process of healing those things, it made me even more compassionate to the diseases and ailments in others. And it really helped me to understand people so much better in so many different more dimensions. So alongside now being on the journey to being a doctor, I also offer spiritual healing for my patients. And I offer a safe space for people to really speak about their emotions, because we're living in a climate now where mental health and things like depression and anxiety is really, it's really on the rise, you know. And so this is something that I really like to take into consideration with people, because the healthcare system doesn't always allocate enough time for patients to speak about those things. And if we had more time, we would be able to understand our patients so much better and offer them the chance to empower themselves and know their bodies a bit better, and look out for the signals, because I like to call the emotions our divine messengers. There are divine messages, even things like the physical pains that we feel. So I'm on a journey of bridging Eastern and Western medicine together, because I feel like we have to sort of go back to the roots. We've gone so far technologically, pharmaceutically also, that sometimes we need to just come back and make things simpler.
Great.
So that's a little bit about who I am.
So 2 questions. On Friday, what are we going to be talking about, roughly? You don't have to be held to it, but open topic.
Okay, we can speak about noticing the signs. So how to listen to the body, and the links between how trauma is held in our body, and looking for those signs and then acting on them, and building the intuition in that sense.
Awesome.
Because the intuition is an intelligence that runs through. It's a consciousness in the body, not just the physical body, the mental, the spiritual body, energetic bodies.
The seat of the soul, so to speak.
Exactly.
Okay, we'll come to that. Next question, and this will close the night off. How do we know each other?
Oh, we met wonderfully in Varna, didn't we? So I had gone to the coffee shop that our lovely Mel is always found to be. And I was sitting there, I was studying for one of the many exams that I've had to sit along this journey. That's what Mel will tell you.
How many years ago was that?
Oh, around 3 or 4 years ago, maybe.
At least, yeah.
Yeah, at least.
Yes.
And I remember there was a group of you, and I was very, very interested in the conversation, because it was I think you were speaking about star signs. You were speaking about star signs, and I think you mentioned something that maybe I had been speaking about the very same day or the day before, and I was thinking, this is no coincidence. I fully believe that a lot of things are synchronized, and the universe orchestrates things in the most weird and wonderful ways. So I had to speak to you. I said,
Did you say the universe castrates things in the most wonderful way?
not castrates, orchestrates.
Orchestrates. Sorry.
So I was really led to speak to you, and I did, and I was so glad that I did. And after that, we had many wonderful conversations, many wonderful encounters.
That you'd like to forget it.
So that was an example of following the signs, and that feeling that I had to conversate with you. I'm very glad that I did.
I'm glad you did. But I was never a safe place for you. I made it very unsafe. But as much as I did that to you, you also created that ability for me to see beyond my own thoughts, what I thought were reality. But you changed that.
Really?
Yeah. Something I haven't told you for years.
Okay.
Because I don't have a chance, because you're talking all the time. So, I needed to tell you, my God, you have been a real influence, and a good influence. on the development of thoughts, and even some of the books I actually owe you.
Really?
Yeah, I actually quoted you extensively.
That's wonderful to hear. That's beautiful.
King Maliwan from Thailand says, "I'm looking forward to watch you, Dr. Nisha Rani." So, and then a lot of other people come on. Some cannot make the time because it's too late for them. And we were just in conversation just now with Ashok. If you want to know roughly what we had talked about today, this will end in about 3 minutes after we finish talking. And then you can just play it back on your Facebook or even this, or my Facebook, and I'll give you the connection after. And then we can chat. After the show is over, I'll just call you back.
Okay, brilliant.
All right.
All my love to you.
And would you do me a favor and give everybody a nugget of joy, happiness? Could be one sentence, could be.
Okay, so today in England it's raining, and a lot of people tend to be, let's say, affected by the weather, and it's natural, we're connected with the universe, but sometimes what can happen is we can automatically switch our emotions and become grey and dull ourselves. But it's very important to remember that through these grey or dark times that we might perceive, and the so-called sunny days, both are needed to appreciate each other. And we all know that flowers can't bloom with sunshine alone. They need the rain also. They need the darkness outside of the daytime to sort of rest and rejuvenate, and have that rest time so that they're ready to shine again in the sunlight. So hopefully that message will help somebody.
That's brilliant. Brilliant. So on Friday, look forward to listening to a conversation between Dr. Nisha Rani and myself. She will bring the sun and I will bring the rain, and we will together help you in some way. Kiddo, good to see you always. Good night. And that was Nisha Rani. And this is really good.